Jamie, good morning to you. How you doing?
Hello, how are you?
You've coached a bunch of these players.
Yes, I have, and they are heartbroken, as you would imagine. I can only imagine them waking up this morning. You know, after you play a big football match, if you win the match, you wake up, you bounce out of bed. I can only imagine them all in the team hotel this morning, waking up and trying to think and try and process what's happened last night, because it's incredible.
Hopefully the fact that the whole country is talking about them is something that they get a little bit of comfort from, because you know it had it had largely flown under the radar that they'd reached quarterfinals. You know, people were talking about it. It was briefly getting brief mentions across the sports news. Now they're the lead story in the back of every newspaper. Sometimes, you know, Michael Conlon, it worked out for him. This is obviously very different. Some of them, this might be the most important game that they ever play, and some of them are actually going to go on and have great careers. So, yeah, you've been chatting away to a few of them?
Yeah, like if you look at the campaign they've had, they won 6 out of 6 in the qualifiers. They won 2 from 3 in the tournament so far. Obviously the game last night was a draw, went to penalties, and they ended up losing. And it's the second time in 2 seasons that the 17s have made the European Championship quarterfinals, which is a huge achievement, you know, and the Irish 19s have been doing well as well. But they're just heartbroken and they're devastated, and they're struggling to understand what's happened. And if we look, the rule does say if the goalkeeper comes off his line, it's a yellow card, it's a retake. The ref has applied the rule. The thing that's annoying them and annoying me is that the first penalty, which is saved by the Dutch keeper, Adam Ida misses it. He also has taken a step off his line. It's not as blatant as the one that Jimmy Corcoran took, but he has taken a step off his line. Apparently he was warned twice, and it's just really, really sad for them, really, when you look at you know where they've come, just to go out like that. Now, of course, it would have gone to sudden death. There's no guarantee they would have won, but we'll never know.
No, it's like, it's okay to lose without a sense of injustice. The worst part about it is that we appear to have been diddled again at very senior level at the last minute, not through anything that we've actually done ourselves. Now maybe they didn't know the rules themselves. Maybe the keeper was flirting with disaster by being too aggressive in coming forward.
Yeah, but you have to think, like, if you're a keeper, it's natural, your momentum, if you're trying to save a shot, will move you forwards. Every goalkeeper in the world, when their coach is told dive forwards, you're not going to dive backwards into the goal.
No.
Now, he has taken a big step and he's making a great save, but even just when you're watching last night on RT, like listening to Noel King, the 21s manager, I think the words he used were like, it's scandalous. He couldn't get it. Now, the rule is the rule and the ref has applied the rule, but just to think of these kids waking up this morning, and if you listen to the interview that the head coach Colin O'Brien did yesterday afterwards, he was so calm. He spoke to RT, he spoke to FAI TV, and I can only imagine what it was like in the change room, like, because I know Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane spoke to them again, and Martin obviously goes onto the pitch and tries to get the ref to say something, but what can you say to the kids at that stage?
Yeah, that definitely stuck out to me as well. The post-match interviews were incredibly classy, like very, very much so. I wouldn't have had anywhere near that level of restraint. And I think the main issue I've got, I completely agree with you on the rules, they were applied, but in the penultimate penalty, the Ireland keeper does the exact same thing. He doesn't come off his line as much, but he goes with the exact same motion where he's coming from behind his line to get that forward momentum, as you mentioned. At that point, the referee should probably say to him, listen, you shouldn't be doing this. You do that again, you're getting your second yellow card and you're off. So that's my main issue, allied with the fact that he had previously warned the Netherlands keeper twice.
So you can't be warning people twice, right? You warn somebody once and they do it again, you issue the yellow card. Like, that's the oldest thing in world sport. Yeah. I'm not going to give you a second warning, because what's the point of the first warning?
I think the issue is, though, if the penalty is scored, I don't think the ref is going to give the keeper a yellow, because he hasn't actually impacted the shot being scored. Because the first penalty that was saved, keeper does come off his line a little bit. Ireland scored their next 3, wasn't it, to take it to the final penalty, to take it to sudden death. So I'm not sure if the ref is going to stop it and book the keeper if the penalty has gone in.
I don't know. I mean, if he's continuing to do it, you're actually just waiting until he saves one.
Yeah, which is probably what he was doing to Jimmy Corcoran.
But like you talk about the warnings there, fair enough. But like, why is he giving 2 warnings to the Netherlands goalkeeper without acting on it? I mean, what's the point of the warning? The Netherlands keeper has clearly breached some sort of rule.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like that's why I'm angry about this, because how can you give just a one-off yellow card without the previous warning when you're giving 2 to the Holland keeper?
Jimmy Corcoran's a good Meath GAA man, though.
Yes.
That's this is Tommy was bursting with Meath Hill / Meath GAA pride, a single green glove. And
the interesting story about him is he's not the #1 goalkeeper for this team. He's actually under 16. Yeah. He'll play again next year. The #1 goalkeeper's name is Cian Clark. They're incidentally the only 2 players in the squad who are based here in Ireland. Cian Clark plays for Shamrock Rovers. He got injured.
Quick look at this. Jimmy Corcoran is now at Preston, scoring 5 goals and 8 points in an under 16 match. April 20th this year, under 16. So he was still under 16 in GAA terms this year, which means he's just turned 16 at some point in 2018.
And he kept a clean sheet for the Irish under 16s the previous night.
5 goals and 8 points from centre forward. So this is Round Towers on Facebook. Today's a bittersweet moment in Round Towers history. Jimmy Corcoran played his last game. Well, you know, it's a long old career, but I mean, it looks like he's got one of those amazing superstar sporting abilities, and he's probably going to be a really good goalkeeper because he's got the ball playing skills as well.
Yeah, and it is possible that he might be able to play for Round Towers again, because of course the next time the Ireland under-17s have a European Championship qualifier for the Championship next year, which are actually in Ireland, he'll be suspended. So he won't be able to play. He's going to get a one-match ban. He will. He'll definitely get a one-match ban.
That's a good point, yeah.
He will. And there's so many other really good players in this group. Like, you've spoken a lot this week about Troy Parrott, another lad who I would have coached. The free kicks that he's taken, he's been practising that with his right foot, opening his foot out, side footing in since he's like 9.
It's unbelievable.
So here's the one from the other night. So this is FAI TV.
Yeah.
It's a pity the angle changed at that point, because you actually kind of lose just how impressive it was.
Yeah.
But it's pretty sensational. And you've seen this a bit, Jamie.
Yeah, it just so shows for him practice makes perfect. I know he spoke during the week over in the UK about, you know, being a young kid playing in Dublin, you know, playing on the street, setting up goals with jumpers, or just setting up goals just a wall in the middle of town and just whacking free kicks.
Where in town is he from?
He's from Buckingham Street.
Okay. And
he played for Belvedere since he was 8 or 9. Had like so many options to go to the UK, like trial after trial after trial. He signed for Tottenham. Here's the free kick he took, I think, in a friendly in Galway against Turkey. That's in the last minute again to secure a 1-1 draw. That's in a friendly in the build up to this competition. He loves the celebration on the knees.
And his buddies too. It's,
yeah, and it's interesting. I think his agent is Harry Kane's brother.
All right.
And himself and Harry, I believe, are quite close, and that's possibly one of the reasons why he went to Tottenham. He went there only in the summer because he just turned 16. His first tournament with the under-17s, a tournament in Italy, he scored 10 goals in 4 matches. Spurs scored 12 goals. He scored 10 of them, including a Panenka penno. A little dink down the middle. I think it was against Juventus. They won 1-0, and he clipped the ball down the middle, age 16, which shows balls.
He's definitely got like the most famous instep in Irish underage history. I mean, that goal last night as well with the instep of that right boot, it's fairly magic.
Yeah, I wonder if Mr. David Luiz is watching, because it's quite similar.
David Luiz, yeah. Tommy was saying Janino Paletta.
Yeah, okay. Similar.
No one's having that, Tommy, turns out. David Luiz is the correct answer there.
And I think as well, one of the good things about this team is for Troy's also under 16. He'll be playing for the 17s again in the Euros next year, if he's not in the 19s. So they've got a really good chance in the competition in Ireland, which is coming up next year. But I can...
How high is the ceiling in general for these 17s players?
Sorry, Juninho Pernambucano. That was the Juninho that Tommy wanted, not the other one.
Fair enough.
Still not right, but go on.
Yeah, like if we look and, you know, the stats of young Irish players moving to the UK and getting a career are not very good. A lot of them do come home after their first contract. There's a lot of them now who would have played in these Euros 2 years ago, 3 years ago, who are now home playing in the League of Ireland, you know, looking for a new club as such. But there are a couple in every group who you will say, yeah, they've got a chance to go and have careers. And just in the UK, the academies there, it is dog eat dog. But you would like to think, you know, experiences like this, and you're right, Jared, the fact that this story has put them all in the news and people will now know how good they've been in the football matches should help them. And the experience of it might even help them moving forward. But they are in I think, of the 20-man squad, 18 of them are in the UK. They're in, you know, a really, really tough environment where, you know, there's no guarantee at all that they're going to have a career.
No, stuff like this you hope helps and binds them to the Irish setup, and then we can kind of bring them through. And if they are coming home, that there's a safety net of a quality league where players realise that you're not getting spat out by the English system, that you're actually just moving through that part. The next part will be come to Ireland, and hopefully you can go back like loads of players are now doing. How many of them are underage? Is there
I'm not sure in the squad now. I know in the case of the goalkeeper we spoke about on Troy, they're both under 16 as such, so they'll be able to play again next year. The majority of the others, I think there's 5 in the squad, including the captain Nathan Collins, who actually played last year in the Euros.
Okay, right.
And it's ironic, had Ireland got through to the semi-final, they'd been playing against England, who they lost to in the quarter-finals last year. It would have been a great game, Ireland v England. I think it would have been on Thursday of this week again, live on TV, which is, you know, another possibility. But you have to say, they've handled it very well. Like, listening to Colin O'Brien, I did all the UEFA coaching badges with Colin as my tutor, and he's as calm there as he is with the Irish team and as he was on RTE last night. Like, this is only 15 minutes after the game. You know what managers are like. He's been quite calm, although I'm sure it was a different scene, like trying to calm those lads down in the changing room with the high of obviously getting through and the high of equalising. Troy scored a great goal again last night to equalise, and then, you know, for Jimmy to save that penalty. The high of that to the low for him. That was the best moment in his football career ever, saving that penalty. And 10 seconds later, he's on the ground, head in hands, crying. Like,
yeah. Now the one thing is, teenagers can recover from stuff pretty quickly.
Of course,
because like there'll be something along that's equally important.
Yeah,
it seems, next week.
It seems like Colin's mentality has kind of invaded the dressing room as well. Like Nathan Collins last night, similarly calm.
Yeah, correct. And he's only 16, of course, as well, and is speaking to the media and just said, yeah, listen, we did great, we're disappointed, we'll move on. I'm sure maybe he was briefed and said, listen, don't say anything because you get yourself in trouble. Sure. There's a piece as well in the Star today saying that Martin O'Neill could himself expect to be hauled in front of the stalwarts and the stewards for what he did, which is incredible to see him actually running on. I was wondering where it was going to end, what he was going to do, and I would also like to see what happened in the tunnel in the dressing room if there was another chance for the coaches, maybe Roy Keane or anyone to speak to the ref, because the ref now himself is infamous or famous, whichever way you want to look at it too.
I mean the referee applied the rules, but like did it in such a strange manner.
Yeah, I think the one thing as well that people need to understand if they're not aware of underage football, this is the life and the world of these kids. This week was their world. And now you're right, they will move on and they'll have their summer off, they'll go back to the UK, they've got, 18s and 19s and so on, but it's actually their world. And you're right, the rule was applied, it's just the way it happened against Holland, live on TV, their first ever live TV game, and everything that went with it, that's so hard to take for them. Like.
Yeah, it might not be the case for you, or like I know Keith Andrews was talking about this team for a while as well, but for a lot of us, this kind of exploded onto the scene this week. It was kind of like, all right, we're into the business end of a competition here. Has this been the work from the FAI through underage? Is this something manifesting itself, or is it kind of like an unusually talented group of kids?
No, it is. It's a very good group of kids. I think Keith would have actually coached them maybe at under 15 or under 16 a couple of years ago. And the FAI are doing a lot of good work with the underage teams. The Underage League of Ireland might be helping in the years to come as well, with the 15s league is on now and the 17s. And if we look at, the players in this group, I think would be born 2001 and 2002. And the team the year before would be born 2000, 2001, and they made the quarterfinals. The next group coming up have a great chance to make the European Championships, and it is really good. The 19s as well have been in the last 2 Euros and done quite well. So there is good work going on, but the main thing is the players are very good. Yeah. The coaching is excellent and the structures are there, but it's like any other football team. You look at Man City, people talking about Guardiola, brilliant, but he's got very good players, and the players is the key. And you have people like Troy and like others, who can, if Troy hadn't maybe scored those couple of goals, we wouldn't be at this stage. So the players are really good, and that's the key. And hopefully this sets, I think Colin O'Brien said it last night, that there's 10, 11, 12, 13 year olds who are playing football, watching the game on TV going, I'd love to do that in a couple of years. And hopefully that's the path for them.
No, good stuff. Jamie, thanks a million. A couple of quick comments for you. Leo Marcus says, daylight robbery, foot was on the line, no infraction, more shite from UEFA refs. The foot was very close to being on the line. It looks like there's like a little sliver of green that might have been preventing it.
You can't make the case though, because the picture is kind of blurry at that range.
There was someone last night saying VAR.
Well, if you've got proper VAR, you'll be able to go, foot's on the line, goal, save, penalty, whatever.
But also, every time a keeper takes it half an inch off the line, the VAR will be flashing up going, retake, yellow card, send them off.
Yeah. Maybe if you did have VAR, then they wouldn't bother moving, so...
More score. It'd just be 5-5 in every single penalty shootout.
They have to move though. You have to move.
You can move sideways.
That leap otherwise, like.
Yeah, you can't.
You should be able to. You can jump forward once the ball's kicked. So it's like the starting blocks in the 100 metres race. If you're perfected over a period of time and effort. This is the rule, but why warn the Dutch keeper twice? According to the Irish assistant coach who spoke to the ref and then book our guy. And then Dermot Mullaney says, if both keepers were warned for coming off the line, why did the ref not have one or more of the previous 9 penalties retaken? Instead, for the decisive 10th penalty, he went straight for a card knowing that our keeper was already on yellow. Yeah.
That's a fair point.
And the yellow for time wasting was harsh.
Dick move. That's that.
Yeah, that's also true.